Years ago, a powerful prophecy was spoken in the kingdom. It said that one of the daughters of a humble farmer would become the prince's bride. Everyone believed it pointed to the beautiful, radiant daughter, the girl whose voice was like music. After all, a prophecy said
The child destined shall bear a voice both rare and melodious.
But the farmer had another daughter. She was born mute, and just a week later, her mother died.
Evil child, she killed her mother.
Yet, the prophecy had been misunderstood because the girl everyone rejected was the one destiny had chosen.
Obinna was a humble and hard-working farmer, respected throughout the village for his integrity. His hands were rough from years of tilling the soil, and his wisdom carried weight among the elders. Yet, despite his good name, people pitied him for one painful reason: he had no child. For many years, his first wife, Nnenna, had been unable to conceive. As time passed, whispers began to spread throughout the village. A man without an heir was considered incomplete, perhaps even cursed. Obinna loved Nnenna deeply, but the pressure from the elders eventually became impossible to ignore. With a heavy heart, he took a second wife. Her name was Amarachi. She was young, beautiful, and ambitious. She came from a neighboring village, arriving with soft smiles and polite manners. At first, she treated Nnenna with apparent respect, calling her elder sister and helping with the household duties. But behind those gentle smiles, Amarachi watched everything very carefully. She understood exactly what it meant to be the woman who finally gave Obinna a child, and she intended to be that woman. Fate, however, has a strange sense of timing. Almost immediately after the marriage, Amarachi became pregnant. The household erupted with celebration. The elders congratulated Obinna, praising him for making the wise decision to take a second wife. But only a few weeks later, something even more astonishing happened. Nnenna conceived. Obinna could hardly believe it. For years, he had prayed for a child with the woman he truly loved. Yet, the moment he took another wife, she became pregnant. If he had known, perhaps he would have waited a little longer. But regrets had no place now. Children were blessings, and Obinna chose to accept both gifts with gratitude. For the first time in many years, hope filled his household. That same season, the new Yam Festival arrived. Drums thundered through the village like distant storms. Smoke curled into the sky as women prepared great pots of food. Children ran between dancers, while elders gathered beneath the ancient trees. Then, suddenly, the crowd parted. The great seer stepped forward. She was an ancient woman whose hair was white as river foam and whose eyes shimmered with a knowledge that seemed to belong to another world. The drums fell silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. When she raised her hands, the entire village held its breath. And then she spoke.
From the fields kissed by the morning sun, at the bend of the southern river, from the lineage of tillers whose hands shape the soil and honor the earth, shall arise a bride for the crown. Born when barren lands drink deeply of two seeds in a single season, two daughters shall arise from the house of the humble tiller. One shall arrive loud as dawn, shining bright, her laughter ringing through the halls of men. The other shall move like the evening wind through tall grass, unseen by most. Rooted where the earth remembers, known by silence where the world seldom looks. The child destined shall bear a voice both rare and melodious, a voice that shall be heard alongside the future king, bringing order to a land that stumbles in ignorance. Her coming shall be accompanied by both mourning and joy. Yet beware, children of the earth. Men will bow to what glitters and pass by what is true. Yet when the season comes, the seed chosen for greatness shall rise as it was written.
When the prophecy ended, Murmurs spread through the crowd.
At the bend of the southern river, that was Obinna's land. His family had farmed that stretch for generations.
And 2 seeds in a single season?
Which one? They are both pregnant for Obinna. Only the gods know which child will rise.
From that moment, the villagers began to watch his household closely. Amarachi gave birth first. Her daughter entered the world crying loudly, her voice filling the compound with life. She was beautiful, radiant, strong. The villagers rejoiced. It must be her, they whispered. The child was named Adaugo. Weeks later, Nnenna went into labor. Her labor was long, painful, and exhausting. When the baby finally arrived, it was also a girl. But 1 week later, tragedy struck. Nnenna collapsed and died. She passed quietly, a faint and peaceful smile resting on her lips. The compound was filled with mourning. Some villagers began to whisper about the prophecy. Her coming shall be accompanied by both mourning and joy. Surely, they said, Nnenna's death was the mourning foretold. But something about the newborn child unsettled them. The baby never cried. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months passed. Still not a sound. Fear slowly spread throughout the village. People began looking at the silent child with suspicion.
Evil child, she killed her mother. The poor woman always wanted a child of her own. She didn't know that child would snatch away her life. She is cursed.
The child was named Ifunanya, meaning love, but very few people ever called her by that name. Inside Obinna's compound, 2 very different childhoods unfolded. Adaugo grew up surrounded by admiration. Amarachi adored her daughter and never missed an opportunity to remind everyone about the prophecy.
You must walk proudly. You were born for greatness.
Yes, Mama.
Adaugo quickly learned to believe it. She walked through the village with confidence, enjoying the praise and admiration of those around her. But toward Ifunanya, she showed only cruelty. The quiet girl was treated like something unclean. Whenever Ifunanya entered a room, Amarachi would wrinkle her nose in disgust.
Stay away from my daughter. You bring misfortune wherever you go.
Ifunanya ate alone. She was never allowed to associate with Adaugo. To them, she was little more than an unwanted shadow in the household. Soon, Adaugo learned to mock her as well.
The silent ghost. If she ever speaks, perhaps the sky will fall.
The village children copied her cruelty. They refused to play with Ifunanya. Silence is contagious, some elders warned. But Ifunanya was not completely alone. Obinna loved her, perhaps even more fiercely because of the way others treated her. He saw what others refused to see: her kindness, her patience, her quiet strength. Whenever Amarachi insulted the girl, Obinna would step forward firmly.
She is my daughter. No child of mine will be treated like a curse.
When the children mocked her, he would gently place a hand on her shoulder.
Do not listen to them. Some seeds grow quietly beneath the soil before the world sees their strength.
Ifunanya rarely spoke, but whenever she looked at her father, her eyes shone with silent gratitude. Every day she helped him in the fields. Barefoot on the red earth, she carried water, planted seedlings, and worked with a quiet determination far beyond her years. Sometimes Obinna would pause and watch her, and in those moments he wondered if the village had misunderstood the prophecy entirely. Meanwhile, Adaugo's reputation spread far beyond the village. Her beauty was striking. Her laughter rang like bells carried by the wind, and when she sang, people stopped whatever they were doing just to listen. Her voice flowed like honey, smooth, warm, and enchanting. During festivals, Adaugo stood proudly among the performers. The moment she began to sing, the crowd would fall silent, completely captivated. The elders exchanged knowing glances. The prophecy echoed in their minds. The child destined shall bear a voice both rare and melodious. To them, the meaning was obvious.
It must be Adaugo. Who else could it be?
Soon, the rumors spread beyond the village. Travelers carried the story across rivers and forests. They spoke of the girl with the heavenly voice, the one destined to become the prince's bride. Eventually, the story reached the royal palace. The queen herself became curious. When she finally saw Adaugo perform during a village celebration, she watched the girl carefully.
She carries herself like royalty.
Not long after that, gifts began to arrive at Obinna's compound. Fine fabrics, polished beads, shimmering jewelry wrapped in silk cloth. Each gift carried the royal seal. The message was clear. The palace had noticed Adaugo. Amarachi's pride grew larger with every passing day.
The crown already knows its bride. My daughter was born for greatness.
Meanwhile, Ifunanya continued living quietly like a shadow among them. She walked through the village unnoticed, unpraised, unheard. Prince Ezenwa had been away from the kingdom for many years. From boyhood, he had been sent to distant lands where he was trained in warfare, diplomacy, and the difficult art of ruling men. Generals taught him strategy. Scholars taught him history. Elders taught him patience. But knowledge alone does not prepare a man to rule a people. So months before the ceremony that would determine his future queen, the prince returned quietly to travel among the villages of the kingdom he would one day govern. He wished to see his people as they truly were, not as they appeared in the polished halls of the palace. Yet, from the moment he entered the countryside, something unsettled him. It was not fear, nor danger. It was something stranger. A feeling, a pull, as though something unseen was gently guiding his steps toward a place he had not yet discovered. Sometimes he would pause along the road, certain he had heard someone whisper his name on the wind. But when he turned, there was nothing there, only rustling leaves and silence. One evening, as the sun sank behind the farmlands, he saw her. She was walking along a narrow path between the fields, carrying a clay pot of water balanced effortlessly against her hip. Her feet were bare. Her clothes were simple. Nothing about her should have captured the attention of a prince. And yet, the moment their eyes met, the world seemed to pause. Prince Ezenwa stopped walking. Something inside him tightened. Those eyes. He had seen them before. Not here, not in waking life, but in his dreams. For years, strange visions had visited him in sleep. Images he had dismissed as wandering illusions of the mind. Yet now, the eyes from those dreams stood before him, real, alive, watching him quietly.
Who is she? She's just a cursed mute girl. Not worth your notice, my prince.
The girl continued walking without a word. Within moments, she disappeared down the path, but the priest could not look away from the place where she had stood.